Hello?
Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Curiosity Cove. My name's Veda.
And this is your trusty captain speaking, and today we'll be talking about
Covie's
Covie's
Choice.
Choice.
Whee! You guys gave us a lot of questions, and we have some for each other if we get through them a little quick, and then we've got enough for you guys because we have a backup topic as well if we just dash through all of our questions and stuff.
I also realized when we're doing intros, for those of you who don't know, we don't have any notes at all for today. We're kind of just winging it based on Covey's choice questions. We have like an honest answer to everything. I normally have the doc in front of me, so I get nervous before we start sometimes. So I make sure I reread it a couple times before we do our intro and outro. I'm panicking.
It's okay.
There's
Let
sweat
go.
dropping, bro.
Take solace in the fact that you have no control today.
Yeah. Because it's Covey's choice!
It's Covey's choice! Okay. Alright, okay, hold on. I'm gonna take a moment to address the Star Guardian lore request because it was given a couple times. You're gonna have to wait till next year. I'm sorry. I apologize. We don't have a league podcast this month. You're on the hook for it. Sorry.
Yeah, we're thinking about a way that we can do it. But unfortunately the last Friday falls on Christmas week, and we always take the holiday week off just so people can spend time with their families and stuff. So unfortunately we'll have to wait till next year. But come January,
we
Star
got
Guardian
you.
lore is the first one.
We got you. It's top of the list because it's the most highly requested. We got you.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I thought you were bringing something else up. I was like,
no, I want to address the elephant in the room.
And I was like, what did I
do? No, we are not breaking up.
Oh, thank God.
But
what was I gonna tell Tyga?
I mean, what?
You don't know her.
She goes to a different country, bro. You don't know her. She doesn't go here. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who did submit stuff for this because I know
thank you.
I know we had to be a little annoying about it, but we really did want to give a chance for the people who watch to ask us stuff that maybe you've been wondering over the past 11 months because that's how long we've been in this bitch. And so, yeah, a big thank you to everybody who did submit things. I think we mutually decided we maybe want to go a specific route first, right?
Yeah, but I wanted to know how your day went today.
Oh, my day was boring. I dropped off my car to get serviced. I didn't have to work. I woke up at 4 p.m. That's about it.
Oh, big W.
Yeah, honestly, really chill.
So mine was less of a W. I feel like my calves have been borderline, both of them, by the way, borderline Charlie horsed all day.
Really?
Yes. So anytime I'm like walking around at work and like having to squat down or grab something real quick,
bitch,
like
drink your water.
Pain
what?
Up my calves, and I'm for what?
You need some liquid IV. Pull up.
I
got
was
you.
gonna say a massage you offering, but it's okay.
Pull up. I got you.
But other than that, my day was quite boring as well. I just worked for about 10 hours, got home. I wanted some trash food, so I got some McDonald's with
hell yeah
fries.
Did you get some nuggies or a burger or what?
I got nugs, fries, and a little baby shake.
You get sauce with your nugs or what?
Yeah, I'm a ketchup kind of gal though.
Oh.
Yuck or what?
Yeah, big yuck. It's all about that buffalo sauce for me, bro.
Ooh,
buffalo and second two is barbecue. Can I share something that might be a little shocking?
I think it's disgusting, but
I've never had it.
Neither have I, but I think it's disgusting.
I've never had a McRib. I have no idea what the fuck it is. I could care less. It comes back.
It's a rib on a sandwich, bro.
I don't even know how often it comes back. I just know I never take part.
I always thought it was a once-a-year thing, but now I'm starting to second guess myself. Anyways, it's just gross. I ordered my shit and said, the McRib is back for a limited time. I said, suck it, and drove on by.
Yeah, no disrespect to any of y'all who enjoy the McRib, just not my cup of tea.
Pretty much.
Yeah, not my Mc cup of tea, I guess.
True. I'm not gonna go scrumping a McRib, bro. That's
Oh, I
disgusting.
was wondering how I was gonna fit in today. Oh my
Oh my
god.
goodness.
Okay. Well,
I'm assuming we do not have a word of the day because Covies didn't give us a word of the day, so we get to
yeah,
skip that
true.
topic.
We're skipping words for today because y'all
Esprit
ain't
would have
word
said
people.
Star Guardian is the word of the day.
Yeah, literally. Kika too. They would have been right there going, Star Guardian.
Star Guardian, Star Guardian.
What does it mean? And also tell us the entire lore behind it.
Yeah, but anyways, we're gonna tell you the lore about the Hear Me Out cake.
Yeah.
Starting with our number one, which is
You gotta
one,
count them.
two, three.
Twitch mods.
mods.
You guys, we thought this was the funniest thing before we went live. We were like, what if we just called out the Twitch mods? But really, y'all are hot.
It was just like some dumb shit because she was like, dang, you know what we should probably put if people want to have questions during the podcast to put it up so we can answer them too. And I was like, don't worry, I got it. She's like, damn, you're so hot. And I was like, yeah. CapnJaywow. Oh my gosh. She's like, no, CapnJaywow mod.
Hear me
So
out.
we're like, all the mods actually.
But you guys are our number one hear me outs because you do your job so well and you're so hot.
True. Smash.
10 out of
be
10
honest.
would.
True.
Okay. You want to switch off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can start mine off.
Okay.
Hear me out. Kerjack from Tarzan.
You're gonna have to remind me which one that is.
That's Tarzan's dad.
Oh, okay, yeah, would.
The
Yeah.
like big ass gorilla.
No, I think that one's reasonable.
Okay, for
Alright.
sure. That was
Yeah,
my first one. I was like, by the way, I'm kind of keeping it off of the main feed of Hear Me Outs. I feel like a lot of them get repeated, so I tried to dig really deep with this.
Okay,
My first one was Kerjack.
My first one is probably very repeated. But Hear Me Out, Scar from The Lion King.
That was on mine too.
Yeah,
Would.
he's 10 out of 10 would. 100%. It's something about his voice and his bad boy attitude. I can't help it.
Well, speaking about another bad boy, what about Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
Dude, I never watched Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Honestly, I feel like the first one is kind of the only one. All the other ones are yikes. I quote the first one quite often, here and there, of course, but Roderick, the like older brother in it, would.
Really? I'll have to look him up.
Yeah. He's pretty, yeah. And he's bad boy energy, so.
Oh, hell yeah. That is my type. Speaking of bad boys, my next one, hear me out.
Okay.
Vegeta.
Dude, he's my number one.
Really? Yeah, okay, mine
Yes.
too. He's also my number one. I love him.
Everyone's like, oh, Goku. I'm
yeah,
like,
no,
Vegeta. Smash Vegeta.
It's literally
please.
like 10 times over.
Yes.
Bulma, so
him.
lucky. What a lucky bitch.
Exactly. Ridiculous. I don't know if you've ever watched the show Young Justice, but Calderon, Aqualad.
Okay.
Would.
Aqualad, gotcha.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. He's kind of like the like chill guy of the group, and I just can't get over it. He's just a chill guy. He's pretty. And he talks so well spoken that I'm just like, damn.
Yeah.
I can't. It's
no,
so pretty.
I 100% understand. Also, I do apologize if my brother's loud ass freaking voice from another floor of the house comes through the microphone. I do not know how to offset it. He's so loud. He's playing games upstairs right now and he's loud as hell. Okay, so my next one is another anime guy. It's did you watch Naruto Shippuden, right?
Yeah. I only got to 150 episodes, but yeah.
Okay. I don't know if he would have been in that. There's a guy in there named Sorcery. He's like the puppet Akatsuki member.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's actually just at the end of where I left off because of you know what, fuck it. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys are done for.
Yeah.
Around 150 episodes, one of my favorite characters dies at the end of the Shaw City area.
Is it Sorcery?
He's got red hair.
Yeah, but
no, not Sasori, my character.
Yeah, your character has red hair?
And sand.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. That's right at the end of that area
Yeah, I see.
The
I
arc is what I was trying to get
I
to.
will say there was a short moment I couldn't watch for a while after the one sensei, if
Oh
you know what I
yeah,
mean. Yeah,
yeah.
I couldn't watch for a while, so I get it. But you should finish Shippuden. It's actually really great. It's like
I would
once you
have
get
to
to
watch
the
it with someone. I
oh,
can't
I'm
watch it
in.
alone
Oh, I'm
anymore.
in. I'm so in. Do you do
Yeah, and also
dubs or subs?
I've watched so many of the fillers and shit. I gotta no filler it.
Oh, that's fair. I have a list for that. We can go through it with no filler.
That's so hot. Let's go.
There's one filler episode I will force you to watch just because it's my absolute favorite and it's very meaningful.
That's
But
fine
other
by
than
me.
that, we'll skip everything else.
Beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah,
My next
saucing.
one, it's fine. Anyways, you know the movie Spirit, Stallion, of Cimarron?
No.
It's the horse movie with Spirit,
Oh
like the
yeah,
white
I know.
horse.
I mean, I know of, but like, mm.
Okay, so not the horse. I mean, yes, but there's a character in it called the Colonel. He's like the bad guy.
Oh,
Him.
okay.
It's very, yeah, not mainstream because everybody says the horse, and I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but I want the Colonel though, like the guy who
Oh,
like chases him down all the time and
fair,
like goes
fair.
against the Indians and stuff.
I'm
Yes,
seeing like a
him.
pattern here. We're both like that bad boy villainous vibe is kind of
Yes. The
yeah,
only one that didn't follow that was Aqualad.
yeah.
But my
Um,
next one kind of is on the money too.
my
Dang
next
it.
one is also technically the bad guy, even though he's not really a bad guy.
Okay.
Um, the wolf from Puss in Boots. I don't know his name, but he's the one who chases Puss in Boots when he's on his like ninth life or whatever.
I'm pretty sure he's just called Death.
Is he okay? I didn't know if he was or not. Like, I know that
Mm-hmm.
that's technically like the symbolism behind who he is, but I didn't know if he had like a name. But
I'm pretty
yes,
sure.
then yeah, death.
Yeah.
Yeah, hot.
Um, my next one is the Joker, but specifically when Troy Baker plays him.
Oh,
The
okay.
voice actor, yeah. I'm a big fan of Mark Hamill for sure, but there's just something about the way Troy Baker does it that I'm just like, damn. I love
Yeah.
it. When he does a really good line when he goes to like Comic Cons and stuff and
Mm-hmm.
he reads them out for the fans
Mm-hmm.
and the way he just does his voice just gives me chills. I love it.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. I don't think I've known Troy Baker from anything else, if we're being honest. But
He's also in The Last of Us. He plays Joel
oh,
in the
okay.
video game. In the video game.
Speaking of Woods, Joel from The
Oh,
Last of Us for sure.
oh,
Um,
true, 100%.
um, excellent. Okay, my next one. Okay, this is where they start to get, I feel like, a little on the stranger side.
Okay.
I'll do my most normal one next. Mordekaiser from League of Legends. Hear me out.
Hear me out. This is her number one.
In the game, I mean Pantheon's my number one, but like Mordekaiser, I don't know what it is, man. I fall in love with him every time I see him in lane.
Doesn't
I
even
can't
matter who's
explain it.
playing
It
him,
doesn't. He
though.
could be beating my face in top lane. I would still be like, honestly, take me on a date.
Honestly, thank you.
The amount of times that I've played against a Mord in norms and I've been like I'll flirt with him over the all chat just because I think it's funny. And
Yeah.
he'll like
But they
Mordekaiser
always
players.
play
They
along.
do, and they'll take me into their realm to protect me from the rest of their team, and I think that's part of the reason I'm so in love with Mordekaiser.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
My next one is the Headless Horseman.
Of Sleepy
Just in
Hollow,
general. What?
like Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Just the concept of the Headless
Okay.
Horseman. Yes.
The concept is your hear me out.
Yeah, because like, they change all the time. Honestly, Sleepy Hollow is probably the biggest one to be honest, but he's just so badass. And when I was a little girl, I was down in Disney World and during Spooktober, they do the Halloween characters in the parade through the whole world, I guess. And the Headless Horseman's one of them. And it just is so cool. It's just a awesome thing to see, and I'm like, damn. But yeah, Headless
Yeah.
Horseman
I
is one of
understand
mine.
that one from like a he's kind of like mysterious kind of vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I totally get that. You know who else is mysterious?
Who?
Grimm from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, who
Are
was
you kidding me?
arguably when I was younger, he was my first hear me out. I don't know why I liked him so much, but
Are you
I
talking about the
did.
Grim Reaper guy?
Yes, Grimm from Grim Adventures. I don't know why. There was just something about him, man. I'm not sure.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
not
I
sure what it
cannot.
is.
My next one is from Brother Bear.
Mhm.
Do you know Tubbs?
Yeah.
The big bear guy?
Yeah.
Him.
Oh,
I
I
feel
think
like he
that's
would just
so
hold me
valid. Yeah.
and just tell me everything's alright, and I'll
He'd
be
be
like,
so
yes.
loving. Yeah.
Yes,
I
he's
can
so
see it.
cute.
I
And I said
can see it.
Sitka too.
Yeah.
For the same
Understandable.
exact reason. Like
Um
that was my wholesome hear me out.
okay, fair. My last two are I feel like one of them it makes sense. The other one it does not make sense and I know I'm going to
Not
get
wholesome.
judged.
Okay.
The next one is if anybody out there has played Mass Effect, there's a romanceable character named Garrus. I don't know how popular he is, but 10 out of 10 would. That man's
Would.
attitude. You guys, before this I was showing Cap, I was like, here, I'll explain who this guy is to you. And I was showing a video and it was just him speaking. I was like, yeah, I'm not really sure why. And then it got to the scene where the guy was like, it's bad for business. And Garrus kicks him onto the ground and he's like, you know what else is bad for business? And Cap was like, right there is why? What?
And Veda was like, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It couldn't have freaking lined up any better. She's like, yeah, I don't really see why. He like kicks him down, steps on him, and says, you know what else is bad for business? And I was like, dang. That would have went for me too. Like 10 out of 10 would.
Yeah.
Right there.
And it's so strange because like dude looks like a bug, has like a mandible and everything, and I'm still like I would kiss him. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. My next one's not really a full like a for sure hear me out, because like I feel like this is a very basic answer, but Helga Sinclair from Atlantis.
Oh,
She's the
fuck
baddie
yeah.
that works with Rourke.
100%, yes.
Yeah, I feel like everybody says, "Oh my god, Kita and Audrey, yes," and I'm like, dude, what about Helga though?
Yeah,
Whack ass name, but fine ass woman. I won't lie.
completely understandable. I think. Yeah, I would not doubt you for that at all.
Yes, I'm in.
Okay, I have a last one, and then I have an honorable mention because I don't think I would, but I do love him. My last one is so weird, and I know it is, and I know that there are also people who are into it, but it's not that I'm into it. It's just that like I feel like it's not really a hear me out. It's more of like a I want to like hug one.
Okay.
Xenomorphs from Alien.
Oh, okay, fair.
Do you think it's fair?
You caught me off the
like
fucking side
so
with
weird.
Grimm, so this didn't really shock me.
Okay, so Grimm was the weird one. Got it.
Grimm were probably the weirdest one you said tonight, yeah.
Okay, but I could have said what's his face that Dr. whatever his face is from Phineas and Ferb. I've heard that one, and that one
Dr.
shocked
Doofenshmirtz?
me. Yeah, there it is.
I've heard that. I've heard that one.
Me. Really?
Yes. You know what one floored me? I'll say it after mine as an honorable mention. But my last hear me out is from Oliver and Company, the Dobermans.
Oh.
Roscoe and DeSoto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what?
That's all I got. Just because they're baddies. That's it. Also Rita. Rita was fine as well.
Yeah.
But my honorable mention that I heard just before this while I was trying to get ideas. You know from Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh god.
The green candy, Sour Bill.
Really?
Yes.
What the fuck?
He's just a cutie patootie. I don't know.
Jesus.
Sour Bill's so cute, and he's
What
such
the
a brat.
fuck?
Like when he's talking to Ralph about like why King Candy is still a part of the game when he's actually not, and he goes, "Tell me," and he goes, "No." It's the cutest thing ever. It's my favorite scene with him.
Oh
I
my god.
can't. But he's my honorable
Jesus.
mention because he's a wholesome little guy.
My honorable mention is just another League character. It's Nocturne. I don't think that I necessarily like would, but like there is something about him that I'm kind of like, you're like kind of hot. I don't know what it
Is
is.
it the mysterious factor?
I think it's the weather forecast for tonight line. I think that's and then the I smell fear. Like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go full Fiddlesticks, but like I do kind of like Nocturne. You know, Fiddlesticks
Yeah,
would be
I
a
can't really
nightmare.
like judge you too much because pretty much anybody out of Arcane is a smash for me.
Ooh, Samira's
It's
cousin.
true.
10 out of
Zangief
10
looking
smash,
ass.
yeah.
True.
10 out of 10 smash. What about Steb? Would you smash
Steb.
Steb?
Everybody's been talking about him. Honestly, I like get it, but like not for me. Like
Yeah,
he's cool.
I've seen a lot of hype against or like over him, and I don't think I personally understand it. But like, no disrespect to the people who would.
No, he seems like a very respectable gentleman, just not for me.
Yeah, 100% agreed.
Yeah, but Savika and Abessa,
Yeah.
Jace with his beard,
Oh, Jace with a beard.
Arcane
100%.
Jesus,
100%. Yeah. I
Yeah, I
went
can't.
into season 2 not understanding the Victor crush, and I left thinking maybe I crushed on him the most. But that's a lie.
Maybe
It's
I
Vi.
follow
Vi
along with
100%.
Jesus.
But
What?
Vi 100% is my like
Oh.
Arcane crush.
Dude, someone made this horrible comparison about this shit. So, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but when she was younger, like how she looked and how she grew up, like when, I guess it's not a spoiler, but when Powder turns to Jinx, like that timeline, that season 1 timeline, like she like had her parents killed, lost her father, lost all this stuff, got thrown in jail, and she still looked hot after that. And then everybody said, you know, she went through some stuff, but after like having that little thing with Caitlyn, and then you know that she looked awful coming out of the fight ring, like just how like depressed she looks. And I was like, dude, it hits different when you're older, okay? Like, give the gal a break.
Yeah, for real though.
Also, she still looked fine. So.
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually kind of glad we did that. It's fun to hear other people. I can't believe Grim was the weird one. I thought Xenomorphs would make everybody question me for sure.
No.
Yeah.
Like half of mine were fucking animals, bro. I don't know.
Cap's a
You said
furry?
xenomorph, at least like that thing's an alien, you know?
Yeah,
Grim,
but like
the
given...
Grim Reaper from Billy and Mandy is kind of crazy to me.
I can't believe that's the one.
Dude, that floored me. You said, you know, the Grim from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy? I said, yes. And you're like, him. I said, what? Also, stop with the growling jokes. No.
Okay, but are they technically wrong?
No. But not everybody needs to know that. By the way, check us out on YouTube and Spotify.
The shameless plug.
Always.
Oh. All right. Well, now that we've got that out of the way, I don't know how you want to do the questions we've got, because they are a little all over the place, and then we have like a very like concentrated topic.
Honestly, I would just pick one and let's run with it.
Yeah, 100%.
And until it ends, and then hit the next one.
Okay, well, let's start with this one because we're gonna have to rephrase it. It was asked before Spotify Rap was out, and they asked who do we think is gonna be at the top of ours, and now Spotify Wrapped is out. So, who did you think was gonna be at the top of yours, and who ended up at the top of yours?
Honestly, I had a feeling. So my main playlist that I run through is called Lovesick Fools, and I have a lot of like love songs, sweet songs, like something that I can just put on, and it's like very calming in a way. And I had a lot of songs on there from James Arthur, so I kind of had a feeling he was, because I grinded him out pretty early. But I don't think I had an idea of who my top artist was gonna be. That would
Mhm.
have been like a maybe.
Yeah.
Or I feel like I expected maybe Chaperone or Sabrina because like I kind of was grinding out their music too.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was too late in the year that it didn't matter, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So my top 5 were James Arthur, Callum Scott, Benson Boone, Christopher, and Chaperone.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine went nothing like I thought it was going to.
Really?
Actually, that's not necessarily true because I had a feeling that I was going to have like a top song or like a top artist be uh Has Been Hotel related cuz I listened
Oh, I did
to
that too. Yeah.
way too much of Has Been Hotel music when it came out. And I
Uh-huh.
thought for sure maybe with like the overarching obsession with Hamilton that we had this year that I would
I
end
had
up
that
with
on
like
loop too.
yeah, I thought I would have Hamilton. I did have Loser Baby was my number one song, which I think is crazy because I probably listened to that like like half as much as I listened to uh Stayed Gone. And so I was really
Okay.
shocked that Stayed Gone wasn't on my top songs. But I thought for sure Sabrina Carpenter, Chapel Roan, and Rufus Du Sol were gonna end up on my top 5.
Okay.
Only one of them did.
Oh.
Yeah, so Sabrina came in at third, but my top artists in order are Stray Kids, which is shocking to me because I barely listened to K-pop this year. Um, Stray Kids 17, again, shocking to me. Sabrina Carpenter, the guy who did all of the composition for Has Been Hotel, and then Erica Henningsen, which is from a EDM song that I listen to a lot. But I was
Interesting.
I was really shocked, and then I saw the amount of minutes I listened to this year, and it is substantially low because I do listen to my music on a different app now.
What was your minutes listened?
13,000.
Oh, yeah, that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Last
Yeah,
year,
mine
my
was
minutes
74,000.
my minutes listened was like 200,000, but I listen to so much music off of like Apple and YouTube now that I
Mhm.
think all of my results are just kind of like skewed.
Honestly, I've heard a lot of people switched over from Spotify or other music listenings to YouTube.
Yeah, I
Like,
listen
because
to
they have
I
the YouTube Premium.
Yep, I have premium and I pretty much I debated canceling my Spotify subscription, but I still use it for podcasts, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, I use mine for podcasts too. I mean, I don't have YouTube Premium either, but to be honest, even if I did, I would have to make sure that my podcasts were also on YouTube, which to be honest, also plug Clueless podcast is my all-time favorite besides Curiosity Cove, plug, but I listen to it every Tuesday, so it wouldn't have been that big of a difference, I guess. I just like watching podcasts too. Like the
Mm.
Basement Yard I watch, Shits and Gigs I watch. Mm, yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe one more that I'm not thinking of off the dome,
Mhm.
but yeah, that makes sense. Interesting.
Mhm. Okay. Well,
Well,
I
did you
also
have a top song that you thought was gonna be there?
I did Underwater by Rufus Du Sol cuz I listen to it almost every day and it was nowhere near it. So I don't really know how Spotify Wrapped works, but it's not
Oh.
accurate for sure.
So
Cuz
my top song was on the money, but not my second. My
interesting.
sec my first was Blindside by James Arthur because that one's my top song from him. But my second was Chemical by Posty.
Interesting.
I must have listened to that song on loop for about a month, and that's it.
I mean,
And then other than that,
that might
like,
be enough to do it though. Like cuz if it's compared to how often you listen to like every other song that you listen to, then like a month straight with a loop. Cuz mine also has Murder in My Mind by Cordell, which is just the
mhm.
first song that plays when I play my like driving playlist, which means
Oh.
because every time I listen to that playlist, it's the first song, it's played more than any other song on there. So it makes sense why it would end up in my top songs. But I just
Yeah.
I just don't get it. And then like Stray Kids had one album. I listened to that album over and over again for like a week. And somehow songs from that ended up on my top songs.
Interesting.
So,
Hmm.
but I don't know if the top artist is based off of like how many different songs from that artist you listen to that year, or if it's based off of how often you listen to that artist. Because I have like maybe 20, 21 songs from Stray Kids that I like the most out of their discography that are on my like everyday playlist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more than any other person that I listen to. So I'm assuming that's why they ended up being my number one artist, because the minutes listened would not make sense.
To be the number of songs you listen from that artist.
Yeah, it's gotta be, because I just don't
Yeah.
understand how Spotify Wrapped works. So I don't think I'll ever be able to like accurately guess. And also, I only listened to Stray Kids probably like out of these 13,000 minutes, it couldn't have been more than like, I don't know, 2 or 3,000 minutes. And somehow I'm in their top 5% of listeners, and that does not make sense to me. That shit's skewed, I swear.
Yeah, I don't know about that
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
something's off with Spotify Wrapped, but to be honest, a lot of people look forward to it at the end of the year, so
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But yeah, good question. Sorry Spotify Wrap came out between the time you asked and the time we had this
I honestly thought it was
podcast.
gonna drop later.
Me too. I did too.
But just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why I knew it was coming out soon was because I got a Snapchat memory saying like, "Hey, this was your Spotify Wrapped last year," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, it's coming out."
Yeah. Oh shit, that's happening right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. My next question comes from myself actually. And it is, have you seen a Blu-ray DVD copy of We Bought a Zoo?
Jesus Christ, no! But have you seen the movie White Noise with Nick Cage?
Have you ever seen The Great Wall featuring Matt Damon?
No.
He plays the Chinese guy in that movie, does the accent and everything. It's pretty weird. Um,
Oh my
no.
god.
In all seriousness, the next question that I got was, what are our choices for game of the year, album of the year, movie of the year, so on and so forth? Like, what would you choose as like your personal album of the year, game of the year, movie of the year? Doesn't have to actually be from this year, but like you personally, what was your tops?
I feel like I had a nomination for Game of the Year and don't I don't play it, but I watched a lot of gameplay on it, but I could not for the life of me right now tell you what it was. Can you
Mm-hmm.
list some like story games that came out this year? Because I'm like blanking.
Oh,
It's a story game. I know that.
what's been released in 2024? We had Black Myth Wukong, that was a big one.
Okay. It
Stalker
might have
2
been
just
that.
came out. Dragon's Dogma 2 came out. Whatever 7,000th Final Fantasy game came out. Um, Space Marines
Honestly,
came out.
I think it has to be Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah.
I haven't played it myself, but the gameplay I've seen, I think that game is so pretty. I just have to give a 10 out of 10 to all that they had going on visually for it. Um, would you say movie of the year?
Yeah, movie of the year.
Ooh. Honestly, I have to give it to Wicked right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a great rendition of the not show as in TV show, but the play. I think the music is amazing. I think the choreography is amazing. I think the cast is amazing. I can't really think of any. To be honest, though, I also haven't seen that many movies this year.
Yeah.
So I can't really compare it to too many, but I think Wicked is fantastic. like, I'm gonna say that one. And what was another one you asked for?
Album of the year.
I don't listen to enough albums to do this. I don't think I have a say on this one because I'm a person who likes music, but I don't actively look for albums, if that makes sense. Like someone's like, oh, so and so's dropping an album next week. I haven't really like hardcore focused like that.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so NA, like not applicable for me, I suppose.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
I think fair.
How about you?
For me, I would say game of the year. The year's not over. What if another good game comes out?
Yeah.
I don't know. Personally, like my favorite game that's come out this year that I played. Have I played any new games this year? I mean,
What an interesting question.
I don't know, because do expansions count? Because if so, then the best new like game or addition to a game I played this year, I would probably just have to give to Dawn Trail because I think it's really the only one that I know enough about to.
True, that was this year, huh?
Yeah, that was this year.
Interesting.
And while I'm not like the most stoked on it, it was still an incredible story. As far as games I didn't play, I've been hearing a lot of good about Stalker 2. The gameplay I've seen is really awesome. So it would be a little bias of me to say I want Stalker 2 to be game of the year, but that would be. I think Black Myth Wukong I just don't know enough about, but I have like this inkling that is what will take game of the year.
I think any game that has heavy duty visuals like that just takes the cake no matter what.
Yeah. Actually, game of the year, WWE 2K24. Done.
Yeah, true. Honestly, scroll the other one's just that one.
Yeah, 100%. I also wonder if like remasterings and stuff count, because I
was thinking that too, because Silent Hill
Silent Hill
really
2
big, and Until Dawn.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if that, because if they do count, then like honestly Silent Hill 2's got my vote.
I would vote that too. Honestly, I would vote anything over Until Dawn. I think the remaster sucks.
Yeah, the remastering's a little rough, but yeah. But yeah, that would be my game. For movie of the year, it's a little rough for me because I feel like I haven't seen any movies in 2024 that have like really blown me away. Probably Deadpool and Wolverine. Was that this year?
Oh shit, right? Yes, that was this year.
Yeah, so I would probably say Deadpool, Wolverine. That would be like the only one that I think I saw that I walked out thinking it was like a great movie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Because the only other one that I thoroughly enjoyed from this year was Twisters, but I don't think Twisters is movie of the year material. Like I think it's just.
I was just about to say that's an honorable mention, but I don't think they'll take it.
Yeah, I don't think that I would put it as like a top runner, but I do think that I would probably like honorably mention it for sure.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah.
I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like movies recently just haven't been hitting.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the movies that I've seen lately, I think are just like truth be told, I think everybody's beating a dead horse in the film industry. Like I don't think there's any originality happening right now. Yeah. So it's a little, that's why I liked Deadpool so much this year, was because Deadpool took the superhero stuff that we've been seeing with them beating the multiverse into our faces, and they did something with it that I like still enjoyed, because it wasn't about fixing the multiverse. It was about like one instance in the multiverse getting like Deadpool didn't give a shit about saving the entire like timeline, like all the timelines. He gave a shit about saving his timeline, and I think that selfishness like added a little bit into like his determination in the movie. And it was really, because it didn't feel like I'm trying to be the big bad hero. It was like I need to save the people I care about. And like I feel like that has been a plot device that has been missing from movies
Mm-hmm.
in like the superhero world, like DC, Marvel, whoever else. It's
Yeah.
been missing for so long because everyone's so focused on saving the entirety of the planet or universe or multiverse or whatever that
Yeah, like
like
who's selfish.
yeah, exactly. That like selflessness has become so tiring to me in as a trope,
Yeah.
and so I really liked the fact that they took the approach in Deadpool versus Wolverine of him being like, "Fuck everything else. I'm just trying to save my family."
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I feel like, as you said, like they just keep on beating the same ideas over and
yeah.
over and over. I'm like, can you guys please
And
drop
like,
some originality?
why are we making the same movies over and over and over again? Like, again, I liked Twisters, I did, but like, we've done Twister, and it's within the last 40 years. Can we pick something else? Like,
Also, like when I got a shit on for Twisters is like I didn't get my like cute ass ending. Like I did ish, but like I
yeah,
wanted more.
yeah,
They like edged me all movie and I'm
yeah.
like, you guys suck.
Twisters did this really amazing thing though of taking like a very mundane thing, like, oh, okay, great, tornadoes, wee, um, and turning it into something like legitimately more like, guys, I live in an area that gets hit by tornadoes like all summer and
True.
like part of fall, and those sirens go off, I'm sitting at my computer, I do not care, like it's just
Yeah.
so it's so normal
The
that
only
like
time I'll actually go into a shelter is if I see green outside. Other than
yeah.
that, you got me fucking joking.
Yeah, and it's one of those things of when they make a movie about something that is so normal to me and then it makes me afraid of that thing that isn't usually normal to me, that's how I know they've done a good job. And for a while after I watched Twisters, I was like, dude, I do not want to be in a tornado. I do not want to hear those sirens go off because like they did make it like a little scarier, the idea of a tornado rolling through town. So
Yeah. They
I
did an excellent job of that, I won't lie.
yeah. So I now have like a little more caution when it comes to tornado sirens, I will say. And for a
Yeah,
movie
like
to do
I'll
that
look
to me,
outside and then go back to what I was doing.
yeah, yeah, like I'm going to check the sky now instead of just ignoring them. But yeah, for a movie to be able to do that, I think it's the same thing with like, did you ever see the movie Crawl about like the flooding and the alligator or crocodile? I don't remember which one.
No,
Is
my brother did, and I just couldn't bring myself to go see it. Is it good?
It's so good. It's probably one
Ooh.
of my favorite like natural disaster adjacent movies.
Oh, what
Because
is
it's
the like base
the
synopsis?
premise of it is this woman, like the town is being evacuated because I think a hurricane is rolling through because I think it's Florida maybe.
Of
And
course.
she goes to get her dad and her dad is trapped in the crawl space underneath the house. So she goes to try to help him and evacuation is done. Like they're stuck there now.
Yeah.
And when she goes down there, he's like, you got to be careful because again, I don't know if it's a crocodile or an alligator. I'm good at spotting the differences. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Um, but whichever one it is, it's roaming around down there in the basement with them. So the whole movie is them stuck in this house trying to evade these animals. And it is
Yeah, I wouldn't have watched it.
why?
When a movie is main focused on a single room, I can't bring myself to find interest in it.
Mhm.
For example, there's another movie of Bruce Willis called The Floor or some shit, and it's one singular floor of a hospital, and I'm like, please
So like
jump out a window, fall through the ground, go anywhere but this place,
if
please.
it's primarily focused but there's other locations cuz like this one is the basement is where they're at, but it also focuses about them being like in the house. It focuses on the outside, like there's multiple places. It's just that primarily like her dad's trapped in the basement. So it keeps going back to that.
Probably not.
Okay. Have you ever seen
Yeah.
Phone Booth?
No, but if it's them in a phone booth, I'm gonna blow my brains out.
It is. So that's why I was going to ask
What?
is like is so the guy answers a call, like a phone booth rings. This is an old movie. Oldish.
Okay.
He answers a call in a phone booth and this guy's like, if you hang up you're dead. And like
So
it's
then what's the concept?
the concept is that this guy has some sort of beef and he's got like a sniper trained on this guy, so he's got like a little red dot on him or whatever. And the whole movie is him just having to be on the phone with this guy who's like ready to kill him.
No.
Have you ever seen the movie Panic Room?
The one that we watched at your house?
Did we watch Panic Room here?
Yeah. The
Did
one
we?
for your birthday?
No, that was Escape Room, wasn't it?
We
Panic
couldn't decide.
Panic Room is the one with Jodie Foster and Kristen Stewart where they're stuck. They're like in a big house because the parents got divorced, and there's a panic room in it, and then people come to rob the house, and so they get into the panic room.
Huh. You know, maybe back in the day, I can't recall what happens though. Interesting. So technically yes, but don't remember. If that helps.
Yeah, I would say we should watch it sometime, but the reason I was asking is because I'm trying to find like the equivalent, like the scale of like how much of it needs to focus on other locations, because that one focuses throughout the whole house, but it's still just a house.
Yeah, like horror movies do that too.
Yeah.
But that's fine by me because there's other
Okay.
stuff going on. But
Yeah.
if they're in like a singular room and they're just like talking, like the phone booth thing would have made me go insane.
Oh, I think that's interesting.
Oh yeah, no. For 2.5 hours or 2 hours? No. It's a waste of my time.
Well, I think Phone Booth is a relatively shorter movie, but still,
Yeah.
still the
But you
same.
catch my drift. Like a movie length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The next two, I think the next one can segue into like the concentrated questions that I was mentioning to you earlier. But then the last one that I got was, I think if we had more time to plan it, this would have gone super, super well. Somebody suggested that we do the newlywed game.
What is that?
Then it's like the game where like you would answer a question, and then I would have to try to answer the question the way that you answered it. So like if somebody was like, "What's your favorite movie?" you would like record your question. And then I would
like
have
the best friends thing? Me and my best friend did that too.
Yeah,
should.
we should do that. We should make that a thing maybe in the new year that we could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stick around for that, guys. It'll happen one of these days. Yeah, we'd have to figure out a way to do it. Maybe we can get like a game host in here of some sort.
Yeah, or have a like a slideshow up
Oh yeah, that could work too if we know the
and do like
questions
3, 2,
beforehand.
1 and then
Yeah.
switch it.
Yeah, we could do that actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out the logistics of that, but I would be interested.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. And then before we move on to the kind of like questions about our podcast and us, I got a couple of holiday related questions since we are in that time period. First one is, what are or were your favorite holiday traditions? Do you have any?
So would have to be like going over to my auntie's house and literally having the whole family go.
Mm-hmm.
She has this dining room table that she just lays out all the food on, and basically you'd get in line and everybody has their like big traditional like Thanksgiving plates that she only brings out for Thanksgiving, and like you would line up with your family, and it was more funner when I was older because then you can actually like go up with your own plate instead of like having your mom do it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we'd go up, and for some reason I'd always end up next to my older cousin, and he's like double my age because my auntie's older, and he would always just like elbow me and be like, "Come on, go move," and we'd like joke around with it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd just end up bumping into each other, like laughing or like throwing a roll across the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just be us doing like a big circle around the dining room table before we go and sat somewhere else. That was my probably favorite Thanksgiving tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And then one that I do enjoy now is I enjoy gift giving more, I think. I'm still not the biggest gift giver, but I think I'm starting to enjoy um like sharing a moment with someone that makes the other person genuinely happy, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't have to be something I made, it doesn't have to be something that I bought. It could just be like we hung out and we talked and I like said how thankful I am for you, or like I gave you a gift that you didn't know I got for you and you get excited. Like I think it's the reaction I look for, not essentially like the gift itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Understandable,
think I'm
yeah.
starting to enjoy that a lot more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I only have one holiday tradition per se, and it's
Mhm.
that me and my family usually like the way we celebrate Christmas, just because none
Mhm.
of us are like gigantic Christmas people. We typically like if there are like a presents to be opened, we'll open them all on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day we kind of just hang out and get Chinese food. Um,
Mm.
and
That's cool.
that's usually like the way that we do it because I don't think that we're gigantic holiday people. Like we spend so much time together already because family is such a big part of our lives
Yeah.
that I think that those holidays just seem like any other day to us. So we don't really take part in many holidays. I'm definitely not a Christmas person. Thanksgiving, I slept this year, so I mean, I was also food poisoned, but I did sleep
Say
through
you
it.
were actually dying
Yeah,
too, though.
I was food poisoned.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I used to go to for a while I was going to Lexi's family
Yeah.
for like holidays and I really enjoyed that, but at the same time like it's like there's something about going to somebody else's holiday like celebration where it's just like you feel like as much as you might feel normally that you belong with that family and you have fun and it feels like your family, on holidays it's just kind of different.
Um, I agree because I for the past couple years I've been going the why reason why I said were a holiday tradition for Thanksgiving is recently I've been going over to my best friend's house and hanging out with all their aunties and uncles,
Mm.
but it doesn't still hit the same.
Yeah, it just like
Like,
it leaves you feeling like almost like you have imposter syndrome where it's like I'm having fun here but I don't belong here. Like
in a way, I think I've gotten to the point where like I fit in a lot better at the place, but it still feels like damn, I miss them, so I can't fully enjoy this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, understandable.
Yeah, so I definitely agree and like feel what you're
Mhm.
feeling there for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the next
Yeah.
holiday question that I had was what are your favorite holiday movies or media? I hate Christmas music. I'm going to say that right off the bat. I can't stand Christmas music. Mariah Carey, get her out of here. I do not want
That's
to hear
fair.
those
Honestly,
beginning
I can't
notes.
stand Mariah Carey.
I can't. All I want for Christmas is an atrocious song. I can't stand it. Come at me. I
Is
don't
an
care.
atrocious song?
Yeah, the her holiday the I don't
Yeah.
wanna I hate that shit. I
Dude, whenever
cannot
it
stand
comes
it.
on my FYP, I swipe.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
too
get it away.
mm-mm. But holiday movies, there's only one that I care well, there's two that I care about. But there's only one that I have to watch every year and it's the most like spirited I get in Christmas time. Love Actually. I watch it every year.
Oh, I was thinking that one movie we watched last year on
Die
Christmas.
Hard? We watch Die Hard every
Yeah.
Christmas. Yeah. That's another
Yeah,
one.
I was like, is
That's
it
the
a
other
Die
one
Hard?
that I do care about because I you know
Yeah.
what? That would actually probably be one of my current favorite traditions is watching Die Hard on
Yeah.
Christmas.
Mine has to be watching A Year Without a Santa Claus, and Santa Claus is coming to town. And then
Mm.
when New Year's comes around, there's Baby New Year as well. I'm a sucker for claymation. All three of those are claymations by the same people, and I have to watch them each of them at least once during the whole month of December. At least once. And
Okay.
I'm already good. I just have to wait for Baby New Year when New Year comes around.
Yeah, just gotta wait for that new year to come around. Gotcha.
True, Polar Express is a big W as well. Honestly, the hot chocolate scene, I could skip the rest
Hot,
of the
hot,
movie
hot,
except that
hot
one and be
chocolate.
good.
Yeah. I
Yeah. I love it a lot.
I love Polar Express. I haven't watched it in a while. I'm probably due to watch it again. Um
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like, I don't know, for some odd reason, like the corniness of like Christmas movies to me just doesn't hit. Um,
Mine depends for sure. I
mhm.
think I have a lot more love for older Christmas films than newer, because I feel like newer, again, as we said, it's like beating a dead horse. Like, it's just like, can you stop with the same thing over and
Have
over?
you ever seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
No.
We should watch that. I
That
will.
sounds like that old 90s commercial.
I mean, it's an older movie, but Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is about this guy who's trying to make it home for the holidays, and he's got another guy with him, and it is like one of those classic comedy films. It's so good, and it is like a
Interesting.
holiday movie, but it's not like the same kind of classic as like a Christmas Story, because I know that's one that people watch every year, and like my family like doesn't get how like I don't like Christmas, because like they'll put those movies on, I'm like, ugh. Yeah, okay. And they're like, "You don't
The
like
Christmas Story is
this?"
like You'll Shoot Your Eye Out Kid,
Yeah,
that one.
that's the "You'll shoot your
My
eye
dad
out,
puts that
kid."
on every single time, and he's like, "Oh my god, look!" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll
and
shoot
they
your
got
eye out,
the
kid."
yeah, and the
Slams door.
lamp. I get it. The lamp is weird and whatever.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I just
fragile. We get
yeah, the
it.
kid
Home
licked the
Alone, dude gets hit
flagpole
with a
for
pole.
sure.
Like, it's
Yeah,
fine.
it's just like they get so old to me, and it's like the first time you see them, I'm sure they're great movies, but every time after that, it's like, okay, yeah, we see this every year.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
fair. I feel like if I haven't seen it in a while, like all year type beat, and I haven't heard anything about it, and then I'm like, you know what? I want to watch this. I'm okay.
Yeah,
But if someone's like, we should do this, we should do that, blah blah blah, I'm
yeah,
like, okay, I'm done. Like, or
yeah.
it's like rewinding on TV all the time. I'm like, oh my god, get away from me.
Yeah, I would say I probably have the same kind of sentiment. Um,
Yeah.
but then yeah, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles though I will watch because I think it's an incredible movie. Like I think it was ahead of its time. It's so funny to me. I'll be interested to
Hmm.
see if you like it. I feel like I don't know if I like it for nostalgia purposes or if I just actually like the movie. Um,
Yeah.
but I would say that one's probably the one I'm the most okay with. And then yeah, I watch Love Actually because I just think it's a great Christmas time movie. And I genuinely think it's a great movie. And uh Die Hard. And those are really it for me. As far as media, in the winter, for some reason, I listen to a lot of like 40s and 50s music. I don't know. I have no idea why. It just somehow fits the vibe to me of like snowy time. So once it starts snowing once there's snow on the ground, it's a lot of Frank Sinatra. It's a lot of Tony Bennett and all of that kind of like older feel good stuff.
Hmm.
I don't know why.
I don't think I have any media that I listen to. Like, I'll listen to some of the songs from those movies that I listed, but I won't,
Hmm.
like, I guess some of Elvis is something that also comes up sometimes.
Yeah.
That's because he sings Blue Christmas as well, which is
I'll tell
also in
you,
one of the
I
movies.
I
But
will be taking part in the viewing of Sabrina Carpenter's Christmas special, whatever that's gonna be. I'm
so
very
it
interested in
just
it.
got released
Oh, did it? We should watch it.
23 minutes ago. It's called Last Christmas, Sabrina Carpenter and Cat Chaperone.
What? Both of them?
Yeah, it's called A Nonsense Christmas. It just got released.
I need to watch that like probably after this. Like
Yeah.
immediately. Um but yeah, I'll definitely be watching that. Probably yeah, probably like immediately after the podcast if
Thank you
anybody
guys
would
so
like to
much for
join.
watching. We do have to go. Like,
We gotta shut it down. Sorry, I didn't realize it was being released tonight. That's um but
Veda viewing after. Veda
yeah,
viewing
beta viewing
after.
after. I'll see you guys there. Excellent. Okay, well that was all I got for holiday questions.
Yeah.
The rest of them are specifically about our podcast and kind of like the way that we operate. Um
Oh, okay.
so I think these will be interesting because I'm sure that there's a lot of people who like maybe we've discussed this with before, but I don't think we've ever like outright answered questions like this.
Probably not.
Um
No.
so the first one is what inspired you to start your podcast? I have always wanted to have a podcast. I think podcasting is fun. I consume a lot of podcast content. I have a lot of things that I like to talk.
Yapper.
And we kind of went over this when we started it. From what I can remember, that was like a
Yeah,
year
episode
ago.
1 type beat.
But essentially, like, I think I've just always wanted to have like an open space to talk about things that interest me. And I've never wanted to do it alone because I feel like I would bore people just like nerding out to my computer screen alone, like about the things that I love. So when I was thinking about like people that I would want to do a podcast with, there were two people in mind, and one of them was unavailable for it, but then the other one said yes, and that's why you have Cap as your co-host with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the inspiration behind it was probably just that I think I have a lot of like interests and energy to share those interests, and I figured why not.
Yeah. I think what really hit it off for me was the Korean barbecue night on the curb.
Yeah,
I know we've
I think
talked
that
about that
really
before too.
I think that really solidified with me that I was like that I was right. It validated my choice to ask you to co-host it with me, cuz like a lot of things that you guys might not realize about mine and Cap's relationship is that at the beginning of this podcast, we had been friends for like almost 2 years, right?
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, like about 2 years. And while we are close, a lot of it came through like gaming together. So it was like
Yeah.
we would have conversations with each other like every once in a while, like deep conversations. And that was what kind of like made me want to ask in the first place. But then we had that like hours long sitting outside of barbecue conversation. And I was like, this is it for me. Like, I absolutely need her to co host with me.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it just really solidified with me because like it became so easy to
Yeah.
talk about whatever, and I'm not the one to just outright start doing that. So the comfortability factor is super big, and I knew we'd have the quote unquote uncomfortability initially because you're starting
Mm-hmm.
something new with someone and a
Yeah.
big like project at that. But the more we just kept doing it, and I know we're going to talk about this maybe later, but the like style that we're doing for podcast, it helped me have like research that I could do to talk about helped, but I think my favorite still is when we just go off the deep end.
Yeah, I would agree. I really enjoy the unscripted conversations that we have. I feel like they're a lot more genuine and they don't feel so like on track, and I kind of like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I like that people get to see like us genuinely having a conversation because I feel like our conversations are so good that
Mhm.
more than sharing my interests, I would love to just share like my conversations with you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um
agree.
yeah. Well, rolling right into the next one. How did you come up with the concept for Curiosity Cove? We had a lot of talks.
We
That's
talked quite
we
extensively about the name
we
itself.
had a lot of planning that went into, and like we would sit there and like the set that we have that you guys see every week, like we went through so many different
Oh
artists
my
and
god.
like
That one, I think we
asset
were looking
pages.
every day
Oh
for
my
a
god,
week for
for
sure.
and we would send links back and forth to each other. We would talk about we had like name ideas. We were trying to blend together like our aesthetics and our themes from when we stream. Um
Mhm.
we were trying to come up with our topics like way beforehand. Like we had documents of brainstorming ideas and everything. So
Uh-huh.
uh the way we came up with our concept, to be blatantly honest with you, is we just talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
We planned a lot. I mean, we knew we were going to do this months before we even teased it to you guys.
Oh
And
yeah, 1,000%.
it was a lot of planning on our part because we wanted to make sure that if we were going to do it, we were going to do it correctly and have like everything solidified right down to how we were going to introduce ourselves and how we were going to give you an outro, just to make it as smooth as possible.
I was also trying to think of like if I scroll back even further, I would be able to find out like where we're spitballing some ideas. So I'm gonna keep going with my scroll.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, pretty much we just kind of kept spitballing ideas until something clicked. And then with the logo that you guys see, the one where we're sitting at the table with our little
Mm-hmm.
coffee mugs, I knew that Veda's status screens were like a coffee shop kind of thing, and I thought like us sitting down at a podcast like with drinks would be cute.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially we just took our two characters that we made into little chibis and we just colored them over,
Yeah.
and it was just something that just clicked. I don't think we had a second talk about the logo.
No, I
I'm pretty
think
sure we
once
just said
we,
that and just were like, yep.
yeah, once we settled on it, because it very much did match my theme at the time. And obviously, since then, I had a hiatus and I came back, so my aesthetic is a little different. But it's
Yep.
almost kind of like I think I handed the torch off for that kind of like cozy coffee shop aesthetic to Curiosity Cove because it just seemed to fit so well. Like it really did
Yeah.
seem like that kind of like very wholesome, cozy time spent together kind of vibe fit the podcast way more than it fit my stream. And so I was like, no, we're not changing the podcast. I'm just going to change mine specifically. Um and I think that worked out for the best. I really like our logo and our vibe and our set and everything. And so um I don't think over the course of the past year there was any reason to tweak any of it. I think it just fit us.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
really don't have any like complaints at all for like the name of the podcast, the logo, how
Mm-hmm.
everything looks. Like it just kind of just worked.
It really did all kind of just fall into place. Like once we found something, we're like, no, that is it. And I don't think we ever looked back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only new things that I can say that I think was of a newer development, obviously you guys know, but the Curiosity Corner
Yeah.
is probably the newest quote unquote name change, but it's not really. It's just to like
It's just like a spotlight name, almost like a segment name.
yeah, but also
Yeah.
like a little baby trigger warning as well.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
a visual trigger warning so that you know if it's if we're saying that it's a curiosity corner, there's gonna be some dark stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of like a
Mm.
hey, here you go,
Yeah,
slap in the
yeah.
face kind of deal.
True, true. Okay, next one is what is your biggest challenge in creating a consistent podcast? For me, I think it comes with like having enough prep time, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Because with a life where you work, you stream, for me, I study, um, you have a social life, you need to sleep, like all that stuff. It's finding the time when you have things like figuring out what you want to talk about, like doing the research if you want to talk about something specific, like when we do our league spotlights or when we do our curiosity corner, like that planning time, it's rough to find sometimes. There's been a lot of weeks where I'm doing my notes like 25 minutes before the podcast starts because I didn't get to finish them during the week.
Yeah, I think that's another thing though that like when we have days that we don't have to have extensive research,
Mhm.
it's it feels a lot better cuz like yes, do we still have bullets where it's like talk about this, talk about that, but it's not
Mhm.
like oh my god, let me list this person's
Yeah.
name. Where was he born? How
Yeah.
long was he alive? And
And
I'm
it's
like,
it's like
jeez.
it's for the curiosity corner stuff specifically, like league lore is one thing because you go to one source for it and it's fine. But when we do our true crime stuff here or our corner stuff, like that takes a lot of time to prep for because you've got to not only do you have to find out information, but this page might only go over like their early background, so you need like a biography, so you might need to go somewhere else. You can't trust Wikipedia because it's not always accurate, so you have to check your sources and you have to like there's so many avenues that you have to go, and there's like I've had times where I'm watching a 2-hour documentary to learn about this because that's like where the best source of information is coming from. Because it's already gathered, and so I can kind of like add the things that I don't know, or I can, get an idea of what more to look into. And it's a lot of time to put towards, you know, a couple hour long episode. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that would be my biggest challenge personally, is just figuring out the right amount of time to put into research. Because if I put too much time in, then we end up talking for 2.5 hours because we've researched very thoroughly. And it's not that I mind that, it's just that I'll put in 6 hours of research to talk for one half of a 2 hour podcast.
Yeah. It's
So,
when like we plan too much and we end up talking for so long, but it's not even like we're talking as in like freestyle in it. It's like we're having to go over the notes we wrote.
yeah. And I think that's another, it kind of becomes like a, don't get me wrong, I love our curiosity
A chore.
corners. Yeah, it does. It becomes like a chore because when, I think that's why you guys probably might have noticed we space them out a little more, because when we were originally trying to do a curiosity corner like once a month or every other month, like it was getting rough. We were like, yeah, I still have to do my notes, and it would be like Tuesday and the podcast is on Friday. It's like, yeah, I haven't researched it at all, and it gets a little draining just because it's like having a job on top of another one. But again, we love doing this, so it's always outweighed by how fun this is for us. It's just in the moment it feels like a chore.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So I would say I could probably speak for both of us when I say the biggest challenge in creating a consistent podcast is consistently researching for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have a person you like can chat about it like off the cuff and like have random days of research, like, and I'm talking like once every 3 months kind of thing, I'd rather do that than having like once a month or 2 times a month. I'm like, jeez.
Yeah,
It's a little overkill sometimes.
I will say, not to spoil anything for what's going to happen next year, but I would say it would probably be a lot more likely that you guys would see extensive research done every couple of months like we have been doing than more consistently. I think that's just something that we've mutually decided would be better for us and our schedules. So don't be surprised if you see a little bit less of super intensive research into our topics.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And I just finished my scroll through our DMs. I was unable to find the exact moment where we were talking about the podcast, just because I feel like it went back and forth with us spitballing names, but I couldn't find that moment. So unfortunately, it is lost in the DMs until I give it another try. But until then,
I would also say there was a lot of like, hey, do you want to hop in a chat and talk about the podcast?
I saw a lot of those, and I was like, damn, we probably talked about it in a VC.
My guess is that we spent, you guys, the amount of time that we spent together in the beginning of this whole thing to plan it out was astronomical. Like, we would have whole nights where we would be sitting there researching, like, on Etsy pages. We would be looking at how other people post their podcast content. We would be talking about, are we going to tease this? How are we going to tease this? Like, what's our name going to be? What do we want to call the people who are watching? How do we want to do this in terms of setting up chat and everything? So as you guys know, we stream this live and we don't really interact with chat all that often unless somebody brings up like a very good relative thing in the chat. And so we had a lot of conversations about like, do we want to do that? We had a huge conversation about like, I think for weeks we were talking about whether or not we were going to make it a thing of at the end of the podcast we would rate out to somebody, and ultimately we decided, like, just due to logistical things, probably not. But we carefully considered so many things, so we would have hours of voice chats to make sure that we were on the same page about everything before we started this, because I think if we had a major disagreement about anything, we probably would have delayed it just so that we could come to like a compromise on it. Luckily, we're just both on the same page from the start. Yeah. So, and that is, I would say that's probably one of my favorite things about having you as my co-host, is that like between the two of us, I feel like there's not much that we wouldn't understand from the other person's perspective. So like when it comes to things like do we use this topic? Do we not use this topic? Do we move this date? Do we want to start covering things like this? Da, da, da. It's usually a very easy conversation.
Oh yeah,
Like,
100%.
yeah. Okay. So next up, do you have any sort of special preparation that you do for a guest? Do you approach every guest the same, or do you kind of switch it up? We definitely switch it up. I think most of the people we bring on, we already know, so we know how our conversations go with that person.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do any special prep for a guest? I don't think I do.
I don't think I would say special prep, but I do try that when we are having a guest, besides Chalky, of course, because
Yeah.
Chalky's are regular for
Yeah.
league stuff, but if it's like a new guest, I know as Veda said, it's all friends and stuff, but I try to let them talk more, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want them to feel like they're just here to be like, mm-hmm, yep, mm-hmm, I agree,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
I want them to talk. Obviously, of course, like if there's moments where like they seem to get a little nervous or they need like a little filler here and there, like I'll jump in, but I think that's the only thing like I pay attention to more. Like I want them
Yeah.
to enjoy their time on the podcast and like to speak whatever we wanted to talk about. But other than that, I don't have like no preparation kind of thing for them,
Yeah, I
no.
would agree. I think we since we don't do anything like interviewing our guests,
Yeah.
I have questions in mind usually, and like we've started to do this thing where at the end we'll try to like plug them, like, oh, where can people find you, or like, how do people hit you up? And
Yeah.
I think that would be probably the only thing that I keep in mind when we have a guest, because I want to make sure that person shines in the conversation, because you guys hear us yap all day every
Yeah.
Friday. So like we definitely, having a new face, we want you guys to be able to hear them speak. So I think whereas like I'll comment a lot, or I'll like give my opinions to Cap when she's talking about something, I do that a little less with guests, or at least I try to. So as to not like take away from what they're speaking about or what they're presenting, I just try to
Yeah.
remain like as in the background as possible. Because when we bring guests on, it's usually a topic that they enjoy talking about specifically. And so I want to give them that chance to nerd out about it. Like it's their time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah. I would definitely say that's probably how we handle that.
Mhm.
The next one I have is do 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 do.
Ba-dum-bum.
What advice would you give to somebody looking to start their own podcast? Find someone you trust wholeheartedly to help you.
Yeah.
Don't do it alone. It's very difficult. I tried to plan a lot of stuff on my own before bringing someone in, and then I threw it all out the window because we started brainstorming together. So don't waste your time with that. Find somebody that you really trust. Podcasts are always better in pairs, in my opinion. Having one
Yeah.
person, I think it's a lot to shoulder, and I think it's a lot of um it's a lot of responsibility for one person, and I think it's a lot maybe less fulfilling than when you can share it with somebody. So my
Mhm.
advice would be, find someone that you want to do it with. Make sure that you talk a lot in the beginning, because I think our ride has been a lot smoother because we put all that time in at the start.
Oh yeah.
And don't give
Like
up.
how far back I went, we were discussing podcasts 3 months before we even debuted
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. So I would say definitely put in the work. Don't expect overnight for it to be perfect. I think we had a lot of challenges in the beginning based off of like our comfort level with like a something like this. But we had challenges with like, oh shit, the VODs are going to disappear. What do we do? So I raced to get our podcast accepted onto um, Spotify and to get YouTube set up for us and everything. And I feel like that's the one thing that I missed beforehand that I didn't quite think of. So my advice would be, make sure you have those avenues set up if you are doing something like a live podcast. Uh,
Yeah.
if not, just do your research. Just make sure that you know what you need to have set up beforehand so that it doesn't cause problems for you in those first couple weeks. Because waiting for Spotify to accept your podcast can be a little, a little
Yeah.
terrifying.
I also wouldn't, like, if you're gonna do a Twitch podcast, like, it makes sense because, like, we're also using it to, like, also just save the VOD and put it up elsewhere. But, like, if you're just gonna record it, just, like, make sure you have all your avenues that you want to push it out to. Like, if you're taking clips from it and you're gonna put it on TikTok, make sure you do that ahead of time. If you're like posting stuff like a weeks later, like you have scheduled stuff that you already pre-recorded, make sure all that's set up beforehand, or else you're gonna miss that time frame. And then of course, like any job, you might not get like paid out for it if your podcast starts catching up and like having that domino effect, like that works for you.
Yeah.
Just like don't forget those big steps that may seem little initially.
Yeah. And I would say my last piece of advice would be don't stress too much about making it perfect. Some of the best moments that I think we've had on here that I can like look back and laugh on are things like when my stupid Streamlabs wasn't recognizing the like output method, and so we couldn't hear Cap for a hot second, and we were like panicking. That to me in the moment I was like, God, that's gonna be so annoying to edit. But when I listened back to it like a week later, it was the funniest thing in the world to me because it's just one side of a conversation.
Oh yeah. But imagine you did the whole recording of that without me in it.
Yeah.
You know,
it would
like,
be insane. So I think that's one of the reasons that I do like that we do this live, because if there are issues, you can notice them right off the bat, versus if you're recording, like if we were both doing our own Audacity tracks and trying to combine them, and at the end of a podcast you were like, oh shit, my audio's corrupted, or oh shit, it didn't record everything, that would be a pain in the ass. So
especially if it was a good recording.
Yeah. So if you are doing something like recording, make sure all of your gear is working. If you're using like an audio recording tool, some sort of software, have it up on your monitor or one of your monitors if you use multiple. Make sure that it's recording the whole time so that if it stops, you can catch it in time to just pick up where you left off on a new track. Like,
yeah,
those are things that you will learn throughout your time doing it too. Like, it's okay to make mistakes. If it's not going well in the first couple weeks, don't give up on it. Don't count yourself out.
Yeah, it took us a couple weeks to get comfortable.
Yeah, it took, I would say, until we got into the swing of like, we have 2 regular segments that we do a month, and I think until we hit maybe the second one of those, that was probably, just because it was some sort of structure, that was probably where we started to get a little more comfortable. Every single time that we did the intro, I think it got way more comfortable. It got way better. Every outro got better. And then overall, I think just like our pacing and our conversation in general has really shifted to be a lot better than what it was in those first few episodes.
Oh, yeah, 1000%.
So keep with it. Don't give up. Do your research. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, the next one is, how do you come up with your topics?
We come up with them probably around the 3rd week of the month before.
Yeah.
Mostly because that's on me. I like to have things structured and ready to go. But we knew, like Veda said before, the second week was always going to be Astrology Corner, and then last week was going to be League. So essentially, we just had to pick 2 other ones, and then obviously when we got to like the League topic, we just had to decide which one we were actually talking about. But that one was never the hard part. It was, I think, the full-blown different topics that we had to think about was, I think, the harder part.
Yeah. I would say it's definitely like a case by case basis too, because sometimes we'll have those like kind of mini meetings after our 3rd podcast of the week. Like, usually it's right before the League podcast that we decide what our next month is going to look like. And we'll end stream, we will sit in the chat, and we'll be like, okay, so for next month we have this day, whatever. and we'll kind of plan everything out. And Cap's really good about being like, okay, so we have Sagittarius on the 2nd week, we have League on the 4th week. This is a 5-week month, so we have 2 in between, and we have the first, like, this is, you know, who might be interested in being a guest, blah, blah, blah. Like, she really is a rock star when it comes to that stuff.
Stop.
You are, though. Like, you're so organized with all of it. So I definitely lean on her a lot to do that stuff. Like, if roles were reversed for a month and I had to plan everything, I'd be like, oh shit, tomorrow's the podcast.
Oh,
well,
shit.
you want to talk about this? But yeah, we'll have a conversation, and usually it'll go something like, you know, I've been wanting to talk about this. Do you? And then she'll be like, you know what? I'm down for that. You want to do that the 3rd week? And I'll be like, yeah, that sounds good. And so it's usually like a pretty easy thing. And if we can't think of anything, every once in a while, like if it's a few weeks out at least, we'll like kind of leave it as a like a blank, as a question mark.
Yeah.
And then within the next few days or so, somebody will be like, what if we did this? And then in the beginning,
like, yeah,
it was a
what
lot.
if we did do that?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was a lot easier because we had a huge list of brainstormed ideas that we were just pulling from. I don't remember the last time I looked at that document. Like
I think I pulled one out for October, and that's it.
Yeah, like usually we kind of go off of like what we've been interested in lately, or like things that we've thought of lately. Or if we have a guest, we go off of the topic that they enjoy talking about.
Yeah.
So I think we've been pretty blessed in a way that we kind of had a lot of that thinking out of the way early on, so that we could kind of just like pull from a list. And then yeah, and then every once in a while we'll be like, do you want to do like a curiosity corner this month? And like, yeah, somebody gave me this thing and I'd love to talk about it, so let's do that. And then that's when we'll pin our big like true crime, you know, John Doe, Jane Doe kind of stuff.
Yeah. Not too bad on the like setup of things, I won't lie.
Yeah. I would say honestly that would be probably the easiest part of podcasting for me, is just the topic part. I think just because both of us are interested in so much that we can cover such a variety of topics. Okay, excellent. So next one is, what is your personal motivation for podcasting? What do you hope to get out of it? Honestly, it's just for fun for me.
Honestly, I would say it has to be for fun.
Yeah.
I was really trying to think of if I had any other motives at the time versus now. At the time I did it because like I really wanted to like get to know Veda a lot more, and it sounded fun. Like I've liked podcasts before, but it never was like, oh my god, you know, like I could do that. And now that I'm doing it, I'm like, this is really fun. Like I get to hang out with my favorite person. I get to like hear from like other people who are like, oh my god, like I listened to your podcast the other day. It's so funny. And I'm like, you listen?
Yeah.
Oh my god, stop.
I would say, yeah, my motivation is probably like 85% fun, and then 15% providing other people with something fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Like that's probably
one of my favorite things, hearing back from the Covies.
Yeah. I would say
that they listen to it.
I would say I have a buddy of mine who listens to us on Spotify, which I'm so sorry. I promise I will put more up. He listens to us on Spotify, and he was like, I'm really upset that Spotify Wrapped didn't do podcasts this year because I think you guys would have been my number one. I was like, that's so sweet. That's love that. Cute. And he was like, because he listens, he like lurks and listens. He doesn't actually like comment a whole lot. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, like a lot of the time when you guys record, he's like 5 hours behind us or something like that. So he was like, I don't really like, I'm not off of work yet usually, so I'll just like put it on like in my pocket and like listen to my headphones while I work and stuff. And he's like, I never miss an episode, da 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 da. And I was like, that's so sweet. I love that.
That's really sweet.
So shout out to you, Marky. Thank you.
Yeah. Shout out to anybody who like throughout this year has told us like, hey, I loved listening to your podcast. I listened to it at work and it like makes my day go by smoother. Or I like this episode. I like what you guys doing here. Keep up the good work. Any of that, even if it's just like, hey, how's the podcast doing? It
Yeah.
just shows that you care, and it just
Yeah.
makes me so happy about it.
And shout out to those of you who are here every week listening to us babble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those who are actually like lurk in stream,
Yeah.
message during stream,
You guys
and
like
like make sure
so
that we're not
hot.
like goofing up on the audio.
Literally. I love you guys so much. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It really means a
um
lot for sure.
and then we got two more. So this next one is, what's the most valuable lesson you've learned from creating your podcast? Which is a tough one for me, actually. The most valuable lesson.
I think my most valuable lessons have come from um like when we do emotional topics, and not
Mm-hmm.
emotional as in um like a tearjerker from Curiosity Corner, but like when we're talking about like deep talks and like
Mm-hmm.
emotions. Like when we did shoot, I'm forgetting the name of what we were talking about. But when we were talking about like mechanisms of like working through like a
Oh
tough
yeah,
day,
coping mechanisms.
coping mechanisms, thank
Mm-hmm.
you. That one, or if we hit like a topic, sometimes we do hit it on Astrology Corner days too, where we just get into a topic of like psychology, I guess would be the
Mm-hmm.
main topic, and it just really hits in a way where I feel like based on our conversation, I could learn from it. And it makes me feel a lot better as a person, and it makes me grow as a person from viewing it from either another person's side of it, or learning like, hey, I do that. Maybe I could do this to regulate myself, or
Mm-hmm.
just getting to know like more about people in general. It makes me feel very like
Mm-hmm.
gratifying having learned those things.
Yeah.
And I
So
think that
you're
would probably be my biggest thing.
yeah, so like your most valuable lesson was that like essentially opening up and sharing and talking about things can give you like introspection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like get a lot more open about like myself and like getting to learn more Captain lore.
Mm-hmm.
But like doing that's kind of difficult for me. So I'm glad I get to do it like on a podcast and like
Yeah.
work through it, but also like learn things about myself and other people that could like give me some insight on different things that I did not know about originally.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
think I think honestly the most valuable lesson that I probably could have taken away from this past year of podcasting is that it's okay for it not to be perfect. It's one of those things of it's never going to be 100% perfect, and not everybody is going to like every episode 100%, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Like if people don't want to listen to our league podcasts, because that was a worry that I think I had early on, was is league too constant? Like are we covering league once a month? Is that going to essentially like deter people? But
Yeah.
now the way that I see it is a lot of the podcast, I mean, the podcast is for the covies, but the things that we talk about and how often we choose to talk about them, that's for us. And so if people who are listening aren't interested in the Curiosity Corner, if they don't subscribe to astrology, if they're not league fans, like that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think the more that we would put up the trigger warnings and give them to chat and say, you know, if you need to skip out on this one, like that's okay. The more that it made me realize that like that overall is all right. If not everybody is interested in every episode, because we are a variety kind of podcast. We don't have like a super specific niche. We are just two people talking about things that are interesting to us. And that in and of itself is like our niche, but it does make for a case of not everybody being interested in listening to every episode. And if they are, that's great because they've found people who have a variety of topics that also interest them. But
Yeah.
if not, it's not like offensive or it's not like troublesome. that people are not going to be interested in some of the things we talk about. Like, you don't have to cater to everybody because you'll cater to somebody for those specific episodes, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That like it's okay that you're not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think me personally, I come from, a root red flag of caring too much what other people think. And I
Yep,
think
me too,
this
girl.
podcast has specifically kind of like dwindled that a little bit, because I know that there are people who don't give a shit about League, and so they won't be watching our, last of every month podcast.
Yeah.
And I just like, I don't I don't mind that, because it's something that we enjoy, and we do have people who enjoy League, so I'm happy that they get to hear a little lore from us. And then
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are people who don't believe in astrology or they don't care about astrology, but that's fine, because we have so much fun. Like, even with the little bit where I'm trying to guess what the best and worst matches are when you're given, like, so us having fun in those small categories, it takes priority over who's going to listen for me. Because
Mm-hmm.
while I want to put out something that people can listen to, I don't want to try to hit every checkbox for every person all the time.
Yeah,
And
I
I think
agree.
I think that's something that I've learned through this last year, that I'm like very happy to have learned.
Mm-hmm. That's
Mm-hmm.
fair.
Okay. Um Last one that I have, and then I just have one of my own, which is, how do you manage time and balance between podcasting and other commitments such as streaming, work, etc.? I feel
Jeez.
I feel like
Um,
having a set day helps.
well,
Um
not even that. Like, are you talking about like having a set day of when you are podcasting?
yeah, like having a set podcasting day, like we do this live every Friday at 8 p.m. That helps because it's a scheduled thing.
Yeah.
So that's like one tiny thing. The balance with it overall, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, it is hard, because things happen where, if one of us is out of town, that means we have to figure out a day to move it to. If I'm sick and I can't talk, obviously we can't do the podcast. And
Mm-hmm.
since we do it live, we don't have a backstock. So we can't just play one for you guys for if we have to miss a day.
Yeah.
We have to move it or cancel it. So it's hard to balance in that sense, where it's like, Kat might have a very full week, and then I'm like, shit, I have to do XYZ. I can't do the podcast on Friday. Looks like we have to cancel it, because it's just not going to
Mm-hmm.
work for any other day. So it gets difficult, but I think as long as you have the commitment to it, it makes it a lot easier. Like, we give up right now, we give up our Fridays for this, our Friday nights, and that's
Mm-hmm.
because we are committed to it, and we want to make sure that we are recording and that it's at, the same time every week. And if there's anything big that we want to move it for, we have that discussion and we do move it.
Yeah.
um but I think a large part of the balance is just commitment to like one another and to the podcast.
Yeah. I have a lot of balance with cuz like I work, I stream. I
Mm-hmm.
also gaming is my hobby, so like
Yeah.
I want to have time aside that I can decompress.
Yep.
I have to do research for podcasts, then there's
Mm-hmm.
obviously podcast day, and then you have to balance like, oh well, I want to hang out with my IRL friends and family kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So, honestly, it's not that much different from being like a regular streamer, I
Yeah,
guess.
true. It's
Yeah,
like,
except for like the extra research part, I guess.
yeah, and I think the only thing that's different between balancing a podcast and balancing like a hobby or streaming is just that with a podcast you do have expectations, cuz like as a streamer, you can start your stream an hour early or 2 hours late, and like, it's still on the same day, so it's fine. Or you can miss a stream today but stream tomorrow instead, and it's fine. For us, it's kind of like, this podcast happens Friday at 8 o'clock, and if we are going to change that, it needs to be made in advance. So I think that's the only difference, is just that it's a little harder to be flexible with when it happens. But other than
Yeah.
that, it's like the exact same as like, you know, I stream, well, I try to stream every Sunday, and, you know, I
We're
do
getting
it.
back into it. You're practicing.
Yeah, yeah, it's a slow start, but I'm getting back into it. Truthfully, it just happens to be like my energy level in the winter is pretty low, so I picked a terrible time to come back. Um but I'm doing a lot better about like pushing myself to like, okay, even if today is like a low energy day, you don't need to do a 6 hour stream. You know, you can do
Yeah.
an hour or two and it's still like, you
Girl,
know,
I
you're out
aim
there.
for
And
3, and if I go over that, it's a W.
yeah, I aim for 2 hours at minimum, 3 hours like as my average. And if I
Yeah.
go over that 3 hours, I'm like, sick. Now if I miss another stream this week because I'm tired, I'm good.
That's what I did. I
Yeah.
streamed the 5-hour league day, and I was like, dude, I could take the next day off. I'm done. Like,
Yeah, but no,
oh
I
my
would say
god.
the balancing part of it definitely comes from just having the willpower to do it. Just like,
Yeah.
this is something that we love doing. And so even when it feels like a chore, it doesn't feel like a chore once we hit the go live button, because it's just
Mhm.
like it's so enjoyable. And like there's been times where like I'll message Cap and I'll be like, dude, I'm not feeling it today. Like my mental is at an all-time low right
Oh yeah.
now. And I just like I don't think I can be like my full energetic self. And so we'll move it a day. And there is still like a little bit of flexibility as long as the two of us are fine. And
Mhm.
I think I think us being in this together makes it a lot more easy to balance because we're so
Yeah, I
willing to
don't feel
work with
so
one another.
bad.
Yeah, because there's a mutual understanding of like, bro, if you can't do it this day, we'll move it. We'll figure it out. Like, you know, and I think we are so good about making sure that it's weekly that there's been a couple times where it's like, I don't mind if we miss a week this month. Like the holidays were
Mhm.
like a no-brainer. When Cap was gone for TwitchCon, like we were like, we'll just skip this one, it's fine. Um so I think you kind of like reward yourself with moments like that where you do have to move it or you do have to cancel. Because 100% of the time, the rest of the time, you're fully committed to it. And
Oh yeah.
you get your research done, you pull off the podcast, like you make sure everything goes well. And it's kind of like you can cut yourself some slack. And that's how it gets easy to balance.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, well, final question, and then we're all out, I think. Um, Final question of the night from me is, this was asked a couple times, but this is one that I was originally planning on asking as well. Uh,
Uh-huh.
do you have like a favorite memory from the podcast?
Honestly, the scrumping is the
Shit,
one I
you
thought of initially.
stole mine! That
The
was mine too.
scrump conversation that it slips in almost every
Yeah,
podcast is probably the funniest bit that we
yeah.
have in this podcast. I won't lie.
That's probably one of mine. The long-standing bit of scrumping is probably my absolute favorite thing about this
Yeah.
podcast.
I'm
But
trying to think.
my backup, in case you said scrumping, because I had a feeling it would come up.
And
Um,
I did.
my backup is, I think, my favorite memory. Unfortunately for you guys, is something that you didn't get to see, but it was that initial moment where we said, okay, this is it, we're gonna start our journey, and we dropped the teaser, and we were in chat together.
Yes.
We were in chat together, and we were like, okay, we posted it, we're not gonna look at it for a while. And then we like let an hour pass, and we were like, do we look at it? We should look at it.
Do we
Can
look?
we
Do
look
we
at
look?
it?
Do we
Yeah.
look?
And so we went on and we were like looking at all the reactions of people being like, what is this? What's going on? Why are you guys posting at the same time? And like we had Alex, who was like convinced, he was like super sleuthing it, where he was like, there's 3 lines on this, and they posted it, you know, at 3 p.m. and they did it, and he was like trying to find all these connections and everything. And it was like, seeing that like that has stuck with me since before this podcast was even a thing. So I think, to
Yeah, I think the
me,
teasers were so big they made
yeah,
me laugh.
yeah. So I think the most memorable thing for me was that initial jump that we took where we posted it and it became very real. Like, this is something that once the clock turns midnight in 2024, like, we are going to have a podcast. And that was like a very awesome moment for me. And I think like it just, there's so many aspects that go into it, because it's not only like the excitement from that, but it was me feeling so validated with your enthusiasm in doing it, because I was like, my biggest fear was starting a podcast and knowing that you weren't like like historically, like, you had never thought about starting one yourself, and I was like, what if it's not her thing? And then seeing your excitement when we dropped the teaser and when we talked about doing it, like, it was such like a like a relaxed exhale for me. Yeah, so I think it was like, that was just the moment where I was like, this is actually happening, and this thing that I've always wanted to do, I'm gonna get to do it.
Yeah, and I think when we finally announced like the logo, the name, when we were doing it, and like seeing everybody's excitement, and to be honest, I still remember our first podcast, like episode 1.
Oh yeah, me too.
And the amount of people, and I'm not saying like I'm disappointed with the amount of people we have now, but the sheer amount of people who came out and supported us on our podcast debut was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like it had me crying after we like hit end.
And like, it's so funny to think about, because that first episode was nothing but like a whole bunch of nerves and us trying to like fumble our way through it. And so when you look at like how far we've come, like looking back on that, it almost makes it like a really nice memory. Like the awkwardness is almost like charming to me, because it's just like you see how comfortable we are now with this and how easy it is for us. And if you go back, and it's like, it's such a prime example of how if you just keep with it, like, you'll find that groove and it'll just take off for you. Yeah,
I agree.
I like it. Well, that's all I got as far as all the questions that we were asked. Again, thank you guys so much. I know
thank you.
I got a lot of apologies for asking or for like submitting questions and topics so late. Please don't worry about it. I'm just glad that we had a bunch to talk about today.
Wait, people were saying apologies for late ones?
Yeah, one of my buddies who asked about all of the like podcast like creative stuff was like, I'm so sorry this is so late. I was trying to think of all of them I had. I was like, do not worry about it, because these were all asked to me today. So he was like, I'm so sorry they're all late. I just like, this is stuff I've always wondered and I didn't know how to ask. I had to like Google questions that you ask podcasters to word them correctly and blah 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 blah. And so he's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, this is Google AI, it's more than it is me. And I was like, it's fine, it's fine.
It's fine. If you needed help coming up with your questions, don't worry about it.
It was just so funny. But yeah, like, don't worry about if it took you a while to get a question to us or anything. Perfectly fine. I mean, we're totally cool winging it anyways. And if anything, our answers are more genuine because they're on the spot.
Yeah, true. Exactly. That's why we left it open if chat wanted to message anything same time, so we could answer right then and there as well.
Yeah. And while the only one we got was Star Guardian lore,
we answered that though.
Yeah. Next year you'll get it.
Next
I promise.
Year,
it's coming. It's coming.
But as for what's happening next week, again, as we said before, that is Astrology Corner, and we're actually rounding out our last month. Can you believe it, bro?
Like heartbreaking, but also so exciting, because 2025 we've got a lot for you guys.
Yeah,
and I
should
think
we tease a little bit? Like, not give full details, but maybe.
Go ahead.
So, me and Veda, I have made a tweet about it. We have been working on a pretty decent amount of stuff for podcasts next year. And yes, we can confirm it will be continuing in 2025.
Yes.
But I can tease, instead of saying anything more about next week's podcast, upcoming in the next 2 weeks or so you will be seeing some teasers drop in
Mm.
regards to what's going to be happening coming with Curiosity Cove come 2025.
So
So
get your
keep an eye on
magnifying
both
glasses
mine
ready.
and Veda's Twitters.
Yeah, see if we have
Yes.
any more stellar super sleuths.
Yes, you guys can nitpick everything about these teasers, but just keep in mind they'll be coming within the next 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And with that, remember, Covies,
Keep it real, but keep it curious.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.